Okay, so good morning to you guys. And looking at what we have here, we've had the monthly and the weekly close I was waiting for. And let's start our analysis with Ton USDT. So, based on previous month, we are seeing a doji, which significantly doesn't really tell much, but it displays an imbalance between demand and supply rather. And looking at the Otoji close, although it's virtually this month that will really signify who is more in domain or whatever. But looking at it way back due to March 2024, we have a demand zone, and this demand zone held is has held the support line for like 4 months, and this is the fifth month going, which is expected as much. But although many are still would love to short it on, like I want it on to go down, but these are just perspective of the monthly terrain of what is going on a broader time frame. And let's try to go get more candlestick, get more knowledge from the weekly. But still the same thing, I'm looking torn as more of a downside. Shorting turn will be more of my favorite things to do. But seeing the display of the weekly, which is from year to year, we're seeing more of an imbalance system. And it looks like there's a trend line that has formed itself. Let me even draw itself. This trend line, we have beautifully this trend line here. What the fuck just happened? So on the weekly actually created its own supply zone, which is this irregular long here, this irregular bear close here. For which week was that? It should be April. Okay, it's March sef. For March, and it has been maintaining in zone 2, so we have two imbalance systems. But what we would love to see, because due to price actions based on this weekly time frame, the bears are more in domain. But for confirmation, we need more of a daily close and a maintenance below this line, and shorting turn would be my favorite thing to do. But let's see the daily perspective, because the daily is the overall game changer. Oh, why is the weekly not showing? Let's see. Let me change this to show. Let me change this to show on the weekly. Are we on the daily? Okay, let's go, make it black. So on the daily, we're looking at price movement forming beautifully. This is the trend that held. On the daily, we have this irregularity that I don't know what caused it about 4 days ago, but the trend here, which formed the trend line, they're not able to maintain their highs when they form the chart, the bulls, which is more positive for the bears. And we have this pull down back into the range. So looking at everything with the old formation and the old candlestick patterns that are forming right up, it is more favorable to short turn, honestly, than to buy. Because if you are buying turn, anything buy should be above here. That's if they can maintain it above 3.3. That is if you are buying for the long term though, because me, I'm not really more of a short term trader. No, it's above this trend. It should be above this trend line. That is when I can signally say that any bear downside for turn is just an estimate. It's not a possibility again. So that should be all for turn. I'm looking at the current daily move, although currently at the old daily move we are going well for turn. So that should be all for turn. And let's see what we have for Ethereum. Ethereum, which is my favorite chart. Beautiful. Let's start from the monthly. So On the monthly, we have a bull close, which is more negative for any bear movement, but we can't say much. But seeing the upper shadow, the bull could maintain their close well. They didn't close it well, but let's just see how everything is. But there's a high chance that I might still buy this month, and there's a low chance that I might sell well, but depends on the weekly close for this week. Because all we've been seeing right now are more of an high wave candles, market in deciding of whether it will head up or down. But we have this crazy demand zone here, this irregular, creating a zone from about, let's see, this support line. Although there's a high chance that prices might want to retest this support though before heading up. But let's just see how it is displaying here, because we have this on a weekly time, and it depends on this weekly close to determine if we are in another wave, another impulse move, which is from here, because this is the 50 Fibonacci of the previous one, to determine if another impulse move is still going to occur. So for Ethereum, we really got to be careful, because honestly speaking, we're just looking in terms of probability without much fact to underline our statements. But let's wait for the weekly close to give us more perspective and more insight. Like I said in most likely my last video or previous ones, I need 2 or 3 weeks to really confirm that Ethereum is making the next impulse move, and we'll give our target based on the impulse move. But these are just estimates now, and all these things can change you, honestly speaking. So looking at it on a daily perspective, we have this ranging period. Let me remove this one from the days. Looking at it on the daily perspective, we have this ranging period, and yesterday and 2 days ago were signifying lesser power or lesser domain for the bears to push prices lower. But looking at today, we are seeing an active impulse move down, which is positive. But based on what we have here, let's see if the Bologna is doing well. No, the Bologna is really not working well for the daily, but it should be working well for the 4 hours now. So looking at it now, you can call this a distribution mode too. It depends on your perspective, but for we to consider this more of a distribution, we need a close below here, below the whole range band system. Once you get that close, don't worry. As far as you guys are with me, we'll be trading this thing as time goes. As we are seeing it, we'll be trading it. As it's unveiling it to us, we too will be going in alignment with the whole railings and everything. But this is what we have. So shorting is still my favorite thing for Ethereum, as I've always said. I don't know, maybe I should really not focus much on the short, because that's made me miss this buy movement here. But regardless, we miss some, we make some, we lose some, and that is just how the game is played. So on the 4 hour terrain, which is where I mostly do many of my things, so I want to just share this thing with you guys. I might not probably do it in the next one if it turns out that way, but looking at it, although please don't mind my setup of Kenyo, this is just how vividly I understand my chart. Well, I'm seeing, I've not actually tried the pennant, this bear flag, whatever. I've not tried it for a while, so I want to see, because this looks like a pennant formation from here, this year, and here. And if it holds, that means if you have a 4 hour close below this price note, you might want to give a price target estimate of this one into here. But still, this will still be our first estimate. Below here, I'll be above here. Then let's just see how price unveils. So, but I want to test that theory first. I'm excited to test it, honestly. Let's just see how that theory folds. But looking at our last candle, our last chart rather, the BTC itself, the grandfather of all corruptions, or let's say grandfather of all crypto manipulations. So I've always been specifying that if there's a close below this resistance line here, there's an high chance that prices will actually range before heading upward. And we've gotten the monthly close, but we need more daily and weekly confirmation of a range setup. And we trade in accordance with the range, but let's see more candlestick to understand. Looking at the so last week being old as an engulfing, but it's still more positive for the bears. And looking at it now, this is what I said. There's a high chance for prices to maintain this period range first before heading to our target of 130. But regardless, we still have many resistance that might hinder our target to 130. We have this resistance as first, this second, and let's just say, but anyway, the target might be more than 130 shy. It depends on what prices unfolds in the long run. But just looking at this whole perspective now, that is our target. And we've gotten a weekly confirmation bear close that they supported and they held this year resistance level well and perfectly well, which gives me the probability that there's a high chance of a range happening because honestly the bulls many people are willing to long BTC. That is why I said it will reach for a certain period of time, but let's get more daily confirmation though. Looking at it now, we've not seen much of a confirmation from the daily. On the daily, we are just seeing some regular play out. You feel me? See this daily now, there's not much to talk about except we are back in this range that we broke out from. Which day was that? That I broke out from on the 20th of May. So we are back into the range. There's a little range though. There's not much money to be made inside all this small range. I'll be easy because it's on the daily. It's a little range though, but still we are back to the range. Let's see what the Bologna is saying. Not much can do stick for Bologna to work perfectly well, but we are seeing positivity. Right now I have an estimate going on and I want to be out by 99, but this is the first level target of 101. If I see how prices display and there's no chance of it going below 100, because often I read it somewhere I realized that what is it called, how did they put it, significant support and resistance are round up numbers like all these 100, 200, 300, 1000, 2000, 3000. All these numbers like that automatically become support or resistance, most especially if there is no, or if they are in at new all-time high or all times or whatever. Really can't phrase much of that, but let's see how well that theory plays out. So that should be all for now, and let's see how everything displays in the long run, and see you in the next videos. Peace out.